Hello. I'm going to talk to you about Hugh Edwards. For anyone watching this in America who doesn't know who Hugh Edwards is, you will have seen him fronting the BBC's reporting of the Queen's funeral and the coronation of King Charles III as well. So you might know who I mean. He is the British equivalent of Walter Cronkite, if you remember Walter Cronkite. So he has something of a cachet among on the screen in Britain, especially for people watching legacy media. And it turns out that he was sending or receiving or both indecent photos of young people. Now, I say young people because I still don't know if it was boys or girls, but they weren't children. So far as I've been able to find out, he was on some sort of a dating website where these young people were supposed to be over the age of 18. And there's nothing illegal about that. It's just icky. I'm not a legal eagle, so I have no idea what happens if the young person in question has registered on the website as being over 18 and turns out to have been lying about his or her age. Now, I don't know where that puts people like Hugh Edwards legally, but certainly the police have said that he has not committed an offence under the law. So that answers the question that I first posed when I made my first video about Hugh Edwards a few days ago. Why didn't the parents report this to the police? Well, they might have done, but then the police would have told them that there's, as much as they didn't like it, it wasn't against the law. So then the parents approached the BBC, apparently asking them to make it stop. That's what the mother said. She just wanted to make it stop. The BBC did not make it stop. And thereafter, the parents went to the Sun, where they did not accept money for their story. Although I believe that now they're going to be giving an interview to Talk Radio, for which they probably will be paid. I'm assuming so. I'm not saying that's bad, and I'm certainly not excusing Edwards for his behaviour. He behaved, well, immorally. But let's just haul this back for a few moments and put it into another context. Let's assume there was an old guy, a shop assistant in a local grocery. Yeah. And when an 18-year-old girl comes in, over 18, age of consent, but when any 18-year-old girl or more came in for a loaf of bread or a pint of milk or something like that, this old guy offers them a box of chocolates if they let him see their knickers. Let's assume the mother of one of these girls goes to the police and they tell her, so long as he hasn't touched them and they're of age, then he's simply putting a proposition to them and they can't, the police can't do anything about it. No laws have been broken. I don't know if any laws have been broken. I'm assuming that it's like this dating website business. So you not being able to get the law on your side, can approach the owner of the shop to say that his assistant is acting in an inappropriate way. And then the owner says, oh, I'm sorry, this is my granddad. I'm not going to sack him. He works well. And that's it. Just don't send your daughter to pick up milk here. So what do? Well, you can walk around outside the shop with a placard, I suppose, and a few neighbours might stop sending their daughters to the shop. But let's face it, how many newspapers would take notice of you if you went to them with the story? Not many, I would venture to suggest. Most, and even of the neighbours, many of them would say, well, this is your child and that's your problem. If you haven't taught your child manners, or if there is something psychologically wrong with your child, then that's not the shop assistant's problem. I have to keep saying this. I'm not excusing Edwards. I'm just pointing out a little philosophical problem we have here. So the only reason there's such a fuss about Edwards is because he's famous. I'm not excusing his behaviour, and he certainly does have some sort of a mental problem. There's no doubt also his behaviour is a letdown. He was heading the most prestigious sort of shows the BBC had to put on, the news and current events. You're supposed to have people who are beyond reproach for that. But so many people in the public eye don't act according to their persona. So many affable comedians turn out to be wife beaters and bullies, don't they? I was at an awards ceremony once and I saw a lovely, good-natured, friend of all television personality, drunk as a skunk and pushing his obviously terrified girlfriend against a wall and snarling into her face. And I remember looking at that and thinking, oh, don't do this to me. I had this image of you as such a nice bloke. It happens all the time. And we're shocked when actors turn out not to be as nice as the characters they act. But they are actors. So far as it's possible to know now, and other things might come out, but according to what we know right now, Edwards doesn't deserve the position he's held as the respectable face of the BBC, but he doesn't deserve the pillorying he's getting either. Well, as I said, not according to what's coming out now. He seems like occasionally to be a bit of a bully. He seems to fly off the handle. But you tell me what person in a lot of people in high pressure jobs act like that. But this frenzy of national outrage certainly has it seems to have had another effect, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Hasn't it taken our minds off the immigration crisis or the immigration bill, the Rwanda bill? We're not thinking of that anymore. The front pages of the newspapers aren't dealing with that anymore. Or the problems posed by the various ecology groups who are stopping sports events and blocking roads. Or the fact that the government has done next to nothing about removing the strangulation of EU laws, which still litter our legal system. Or drag queen story hour, which schools are still holding against the wills of the parents in the schools, or this bank account closing that's being inflicted on ordinary citizens who happen to have voiced their opinions on certain issues which I cannot name on YouTube, or the various examples of where the police have overstepped their authority and haven't been penalised for it. All of those are relegated to, they're just thrown deep into the shade against the blinding glare of the Edwards story. You can say that the BBC have managed to give the government a bit of a breather, for all that many of them say they don't like the Conservatives, because when faced with the really difficult problems, there's nothing we like better than to find one single individual whom we can sacrifice in order to purify the whole village, the witch or whatever. So as despicable as Hugh Edwards has turned out to be, what I find most upsetting, most depressing about this whole business is the mob frenzy of our society and the easy way that we're distracted from really important and serious and difficult problems of our society and finding just one person whom we can sacrifice, as I said, who we can blame on all our troubles, and having cleared him in some way, we can feel a lot better, like we've done something. Men like him will always exist. When I was writing, I got, directors and, people in that sort of position being what you might call inappropriate with me. And then me finding that certain things don't happen because I wasn't going to be inappropriate with them. Let's put it that way. It happens all the time, and it seems to happen more in the arts world than anywhere else. They all seem to be at it like knives most of the time. I don't know whether it's the milieu itself that does that to people, although it didn't do it to me, so yeah, who knows. Or it's that sort of person that goes into that sort of business. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, just blaming all the world's problems on one person or one ethnic group or whatever, it never is the answer. Never. Okay. Well, I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video before you go. Please share it. Please subscribe. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds, just in case you lose one of the channels. And I'm on Twitter and Gab. That's where I let you know what's going on with my channel and when I've uploaded a new video. There are links in the description to all the sites I've mentioned and also to donation sites if you want to use them. But really, yeah, liking is very important. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.